beautiful Mono Lake. It's this huge remains of a prehistoric giant lake, Lake Lahontan, and it dried up back in prehistoric times and left Mono Lake, Walker Lake, and Pyramid Lake as 3 remaining puddles of it. And Mono Lake is well known for having these weird, mysterious tufa towers that stick up out of it like spires. Well, what those tufa towers are calcified minerals from hot springs. Okay, there's hot springs out in the lake. And as the lake has dried up, partially thanks to Los Angeles sucking all the water out of this valley, the tufa towers get taller, or they come out of the water more. So they create this really cool ghostly effect, especially at sunset. I'm not here at sunset, I'm here earlier in the morning because I am gonna kayak out to this island here where there's supposedly remains of an old abandoned hot spring resort. Anyways, a really cool friend of mine has 2 kayaks and we're gonna get in there and paddle out to the island while it's still nice and calm here, because if the winds kick up, it'll make it a lot more difficult. The Mono Lake is basically fed by 2 creeks that run in from the mountains there, the Sierras, South Creek and Levining Creek, and there's no outlet, so it all just kind of pools up in here and gets real salty and minerally. I guess it's supposed to be much saltier than the ocean. We'll see about that. Let's see if it's really as salty as I was told. Ooh, very salty. Submerged tufa. Wow, you can see just the little tips sticking out of some of these towers. And then you can see there's a osprey built its nest on the top of that one. There was a giant osprey sitting on the top of this one a minute ago, but it flew away. So beautiful, so otherworldly. It's like something out of the Lord of the Rings. The tufa towers. And look how clear the lake is. You can see right down. See that, I guess, massive same material underwater. And all these brine shrimp, I was just told, feed all these seagulls. You see all these seagulls. Well, you can't see any right now, but there's a ton of seagulls around here. Something like 90% of the seagulls in California come out of this, or nest here at Mono Lake. Isn't that crazy? Even down south. Anyway, I still got a long way to go to paddle to that island, so I better get going. Whew, probably about halfway to the island now. But I just wanted to stop for a minute to rest my arms and point out the beautiful, look at that, that's the Sierra. That's on the other side of those mountains, that's Yosemite. If you don't know where Mono Lake is, it's a huge lake, sort of on the border of California and Nevada, on the eastern side of Yosemite. So in that direction, to be careful because I took my top off, there's Nevada, and you go that way towards Tonopah, my beloved Clown Motel. And then on that side, it's Yosemite. So, fun fact, we're right in the middle of everything. Finally coming up on the island here. This is kind of like a peninsula of it. And then over there, I don't know if you can see, there's a kind of like a dome-like structure. I think that's part of the old abandoned hot spring resort. But first we're gonna go, I'm following my friend here. There's supposed to be some hot springs right here on this part of the island that I wanna go check out. Woo, finally made it to the first part of this island, and you can definitely feel hot water bubbling up from under the ground. Like there was a pocket I stepped in over here that was really hot, so you kind of have to be careful. I don't know where it's coming from. I guess under, I mean, you can see little tiny bubbles coming up all over the surface of the lake. I guess there's just hot vents coming up from the ground. I mean, this whole area is crazy volcanic, but you can see little bubbles all over this area. It smells very sulfury too. If this was smell-o-vision, you would definitely smell it. Look, I'm not sure you can see all this dried salt crust on my skin, but that's how salty this water is. When it dries, it leaves this white sort of crust. It's pretty salty. Okay, we're finally coming up to Hot Spring Cove, which is the main part of the island, and we're gonna hike across this to that little ruin over there. Okay, apology if the footage looks different now, but I just dropped my freaking GoPro into the lake. But anyways, I'm using my cell phone to shoot the rest of this, so the GoPro is not working. Hopefully once it dries out, it'll work, but I'm not sure. I mean, you saw how salty that water was. Yikes. Okay, walking along, trying to cut a path through all this brush to get to those buildings. It's actually pretty dense and very thorny and prickly when you get up close to it. So I didn't bring a machete and I don't really have good clothes on. So the challenge now is to navigate a path, maybe up and around to get to that building. Okay, we're just hiking up this hillside, which is sort of dusty, loose mud, dried mud. It's real soft, almost like a sand dune. Whew. Boy, let me tell you something. You gotta really want to go to this ruin. It's hard to get to. First you gotta paddle for 3 miles. Then you have to either bushwhack or hike up this friggin' hill. Whew. Only a select few are crazy enough to come here. And we did see some footprints. So other people have been here, but not very often, I'd guess. Although I did notice when I looked up the island online, there was a Google review for it. So people do come out here. In fact, Mark Twain came out here back in the day. I was reading about it on Wikipedia. I think they came out here to the hot spring, or maybe where the resort is now. I'm not sure if the resort was there then or what the deal was. I don't think it was there then. And they were looking for some kind of beautiful, clear drinking water spring, which I don't think they found. I'm not sure how he got out here. I'm gonna guess they didn't kayak back then. Maybe there was some kind of steamship on the lake back in those days. Whew. But it's interesting. My path seems to cross with Mark Twain's path a lot in a lot of places. You know, like he spent a lot of time in San Francisco, where I'm from. He also lived in Germany, where I grew up, in the same town, Heidelberg. Then he spent time as a newspaper person in Nevada, which I live in Nevada now. And, you know, he's been all over a lot of the places I've been. Plus, he's a really funny, acerbic, cynical writer, and he's one of my heroes. So, hey, if I have to have a lot in common with anyone, it might as well be Mark Twain. Love you, Mark. Uh-oh, look, you can see some timbers from something. Looks like maybe that was part of a pier, maybe? I don't know. You can see there's another one there. So we're starting to come across some signs of human habitation. Okay, now we're coming up on some signs of habitation for sure. Like here's an old can. One of those super old ones that you had to use a church key to open. I think that was called a church key. I don't know. Wow, look at it. All right, look at that. We're almost there. We found a route that wasn't too clogged with brush. And look, here's a ruins of an old tractor, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think that is? Do you think this was here since the days of Mark Twain? I don't know if it's that old. But it's pretty old. And as salty as it is out here, I'm surprised it's not totally corroded. But it is, you know, pretty rusty. Look at that. Beautiful. Yellow. Oh, I love it. Wow, look. These buildings had really interesting construction. These weird round roofs. Almost looks like the Smurfs village. All right. Bushwhacking through the brush. There's a little piece of porcelain from a toilet or something. But you can see it's very dense and not really very good to walk through. So if you ever plan on doing this, I would recommend bringing hiking shoes, long pants, and some kind of long shirt. So I'm just wearing my chacos and these cheesy leggings, and it's, I don't know. Hey, anyways, we're here. Look. Wow. Holy moly, what a mess. So this is all like stucco, I guess, that collapsed. And then you can see some bed springs buried in it there. Oh, there is, I guess that was maybe an old sink down there. Everything is just completely crumpled. Yeah, there's definitely an old sink there. Wiring coiled up. Holy wow. I mean, it's just rubble. Oh, hold on. There's a handle to something in here. I guess maybe it was like an old pot, or oh, maybe it was like this was an old drawer to an oven. I mean, this stuff is old. Like that tractor looking thing, that was pulled by a horse. So maybe this stuff is from the Mark Twain days. Like, what was this? Refrigerator coils? Huh. Look at this cool old, is this like one of those old milk jugs? I don't know. Interesting. And then look at this. What kind of old motor? Or what does it say? McDonald Dubuque. F1687. A pump. Oh, it's a pump. See, I don't know anything about any of this stuff. Cool. Maybe they're pumping the water in from the lake or something, filtering it out. Okay, let's go look inside this weird building back here. It's going to be hard to get to, though, so. I mean, this whole path, bushbiking through here, is just choked with pokey, sharp bushes and then rusty old bits of who knows what. I mean, this is fascinating. Look, we're almost to the abandoned structure. I mean, it looks to me like there was only 2 of these buildings, so it couldn't have been a very big resort. Maybe it wasn't a resort. Maybe it was just someone's house. Who knows? But look how cool the construction and design of this is. Wow, look, we can climb right through this window. Look, there's some bed springs leaning against the outside. Wow, there's no choice but to climb through the window. No other way to get in. There's much brush everywhere. Wow. Look at this. This is so freaking cool. Look at these old beds. What was this? Oh, look, there's a shower. Boy, howdy, I need that right now. Dang, look at this old bed. It almost looks like a hospital bed the way it reclines like that. Maybe it was like a sanatorium out here. Oh, what if it was a leper colony? The Mono Lake leper colony. Man, the inside of this building is so interesting. I'm guessing from the configuration that it was 2 rooms, because you can see there's a shower there and a shower there. So in between these 2 windows, there must have been a wall, which, you know, has since fallen down. And then there were probably 2 doors side by side here. So this was 2 adjoining rooms. But rooms for whom? I mean, there was this building that's still standing, and then there was that other one that we walked by that was the same size. So 4 rooms, that's not a very big resort. So I don't know what the deal was. But look how creepy this is. Well, you know what? Then we also saw, remember how we saw all that collapsed chicken wire and sinks and stuff? Maybe that was a 3rd building and it just totally fell down. I mean, look at all this stuff. Rusty old hinge. Rusty old tobacco can lid, I guess. Can't quite read what it says. Like here's the toilet was made in Trenton, New Jersey. Okay, that's good news, made in America. There's where it went down in the ground. There's a sink. I mean, you can tell whatever that was is old because it has that cool Art Deco styling on it. Back when they used to make things with style. Holy cripe. Fascinating. And then look out here. There's an old, I don't know what that is. We'll better go bushwhack through there and check it out. Far out. Look at this old tractor that's just sitting here rusting away on this island. Cletrack. Anybody here ever drive a Cletrack? So the radiator's all busted up. Look at that crank on the front. Holy cow, let's see. It's really hard to maneuver around here because of this friggin' sharp brush. Maybe I can just climb on the actual tractor. Look. Holy cow, look at the old spark plugs are still in it. There's the seat. Wow, this is so neat. Look at this thing. Well, I bet you anything, just a couple coats of polish and this thing would run like new. I mean, this was made in America when people took pride in manufacturing, you know what I mean? My friend just told me that this kind of brush grows very slowly. So the fact that there's this dense and this thick, this much of it, indicates that it has been growing for quite some time, like maybe 100 years. So this tractor must be like 100 years since its last use. And I wasn't able to find like, well, obviously there's no VIN number or anything on it, but on this thing here, it says 1 shot at the top. Sorry about the focus. I don't know if you can see that. It says 1 shot. And then on the part itself, it says Bowen Products Corp., Auburn, New York, patented December 23rd, 1919. That's the date it was patented, so we know that this tractor was built later than 1919, but other than that, we don't know much. Wow, listen, I don't know if you can hear, but there's just some kind of a spring down there. And I guess they were collecting water in that cistern up there. I guess to use at this creepy leper colony resort or whatever it was, sanatorium, excuse me. So here's where the sound of water is coming from. I don't know if you can see, it's coming out that pipe there. I don't know if there's a freshwater spring here or what. I can't imagine that there would be because it's all salty water all around. Okay, I made it down to the spring. Let's see, is it hot or cold? Is it fresh or salty? What is it? It's cold. And it's not salty. So they had some kind of a freshwater spring. Maybe this is the freshwater spring Mark Twain was looking for. Well, I don't know what his problem was in finding it. It's right here. Wow, just look at this. I'm just going to do one more sort of overview. Look at the weird pattern on that roof thing up there. What was this place? I mean, the weird design, almost like Hobbit, Tolkien-esque design of these buildings just makes me think it was some kind of kooky religious nut compound. But I know nothing about it. I mean, maybe it was just kind of like Zizek's hot springs down in Southern California in the Mojave, where it was a sort of a health retreat / mineral bath. Kind of has that same feel to it. Look, you can just make out the old stone steps that were led up into this building through the overgrowth. Yikes. Boy, howdy, it is rough getting around here now. Uh-oh, look, there's some litter on the ground, a Miller Lite. And then there's another can back there. I can't tell if it's a Budweiser or something. It's a few beer cans. So apparently people do come out here occasionally and party. And frankly, it is a pretty cool place to party. Like if someone invited me to go party at the old abandoned leper sanatorium on Paoha Island in Mono Lake, I'd say yes for sure. Okay, I just bushwhacked up to the ruins of this second building, which is in much worse condition. It's like half collapsed. Just a mess, but some stuff is left standing, like this stove. A sink. So does that give us any clues as to the age of this place? Those are some pretty old-timey looking faucets. Gold. Hot. I don't see any date stamped anywhere on the porcelain. That's about it. There's not really any other clues here. Similar building to the other one, just half collapsed. Oh, but that thing from the roof. Remember how that other building had that weird thing on the roof? There's this one, and it fell down. Maybe it's just decorative. Fancy. Wow, there's the ruins of this building, and then in the back you can see the ruins of that other building. And then just beyond that, you can see that old cistern. That's pretty much the only ruins I was able to find here. So I'm not sure how big this place ever was. But it's in pretty good shape, the ruins. I mean, considering, I don't know how old they are. But I think the fact that all this dense brush sort of guards it, protects it from most people. So it's not like the towny kids are coming out here and, trashing the place. Although we did see those beer cans back there, so somebody partied here, and whoever that was dedicated. Wow, look, we're hiking back, and somebody's shoes are just sitting here abandoned side by side, almost as if the person wearing them had been vaporized. Oh no, what if there's some kind of curse on this abandoned ruin, and anybody who goes there meets their doom? And that kid had just finished drinking his beers back there, partying with his friends, and was hiking back just like I am, and poof, disappeared. Or maybe it's not a curse, maybe it's a blessing. Maybe this was a religious retreat, compound, cult, and that guy was taken up in the rapture. Hey, maybe I'm about to be taken up in the rapture too. Awesome, that means I don't have to kayak 3 friggin' miles back to the beach. Well, apparently I'm not on God's good list because I didn't get taken up by the rapture. And unfortunately, that means I have to get back in my kayak and paddle all the way back to that far shore. But boy, howdy, am I glad I came on this adventure. This is without question one of the coolest, creepiest, most remote abandoned locations I've ever been to, and it makes me love the Eastern Sierra 395 corridor all that much more. Whew. Oh my god, I can't believe I made it back. The wind kicked up and it was gnarly paddling back, but we made it. And I forgot that there was one other thing I wanted to do to reward myself for this challenge and wrap up the video. Alright, all that kayaking and hiking and exploring has really worked up an appetite. So I'm gonna end this adventure at one of my favorite places, the Monocone in Lee Vining. They have awesome burgers, awesome shakes, and awesome french fries, and I stop here every time I'm passing through. And I figure I probably just burned enough calories to cover maybe 1 or 2 french fries at least. So, bon appetit!